you should absolutely talk to elderly people because I'm assuming that you're probably not 70, 80 years old. And so if you're younger than that, you can learn so much by talking to elderly people because, well, they have so much more life experience. And I'm not saying that you should necessarily ask them for business advice because if they're not business owners, they might not have all the business advice that you need. But you can ask them life advice because that is something where they have a lot of experience. And so, especially myself, I've talked to elderly people not only because they enjoy it, because many of them are extremely lonely, and well, that's a sad fact, but most elderly people are lonely simply because a lot of the people that they used to talk to are not here anymore. And so they enjoy it and they get a lot out of it, but also I get a lot out of it. It's a win-win for everyone. They get to talk to someone and I get to learn a lot. Because first of all, you get such good social skills from talking to elderly people. Like, imagine elderly people. When they were young, they didn't have social media, didn't have texting, didn't have any of these things. Everything had to be communicated in person. A lot of these people grew up in a time where you didn't even have a phone in your house. Not a single phone. You literally could not make a call even if you wanted to. So all communication had to be done through communication in face to face, in person. And so you learn such amazing social skills. And this is the biggest tip that I can ever give you when it comes to learning to be more social and to be better in social situations, is to talk to elderly people and just basically learn from them. Oh, this is how you behave. Oh, this is how you seem charismatic. This is how you do these things. Because they know exactly what to do. They have so much more experience than you do in all kinds of social situations. First of all, probably don't ask them how to text someone because, once again, that's something they probably haven't done a lot. Or just talking to them. Not even talking about, how am I gonna be better in a social situation. Just being yourself, talking to them about life, about, the weather. Even such simple things will teach you how to be really good in social situations. How to, I can look at the other person and then, I can look away for a second and then, think to myself and then answer in this kind of way. This is how I show that I'm listening and this is how I show that I understood what they said because I can repeat what they said or parts of it back to them. And all these simple things that most people haven't learned today because so many things are online and we're using so much of our life being online and doing this that most people have not learned these very basic things, but you can learn them in a safe environment with elderly people because not only do they know how to correctly behave, which means that you can learn how to correctly behave, but on top of that they are so willing to understand if you don't do everything correct because they're just happy to be talking to someone. So to them it's just I don't care if you fail something or you're not the best in social situations. They will still be very happy to talk to you, and it's such a great place to learn. It's a lot more intimidating going talking to a lot of people who might be similar age to you, but when you talk to elderly people you can learn a lot by just talking to them and they'll be so welcoming and so open. So that's firstly. But second of all, you can ask them life questions that you cannot ask other people. And when you ask elderly people, and I've done this, you ask people who are 80 or 70 or even 90 years old, and you ask them what's the moment that you're the most proud of? Or what's the thing that you most regret? These are amazing questions to ask, and I totally recommend that you go and ask them yourself from these elderly people because you will get surprising answers. Nobody regrets, starting a business and failing. Nobody regrets failure at all, really. That's a big lesson. Nobody regrets failure You can, like, and if you don't believe me, just go ask elderly people. I've never heard myself that an elderly person said, oh, my biggest regret is that I failed at something. No, they're always proud that they had the courage to try, even if they failed. Will it be in business? Will it be in art? Trying to apply to that art school or going somewhere. And it's such a great way to think, because you learn that when you're 80 years old yourself, you won't regret failures. You won't regret doing things. You will regret the opposite. You will regret not doing things. And that's a big lesson that I learned from elderly people. Is that, well, you will never regret doing things. And so whether you start a business and you fail, whether you apply to that job and don't get it, whether you do whatever, you will never regret doing it, because you will always be proud of the fact that you had the courage to try. And so it gives you this opening and this realization, this almost enlightenment, that while you're still young, it might feel like failure is overwhelming and so bad, but in actuality you won't care in the future. And so just be courageous, be brave enough to try. Go after your dreams, go try new things, go do something, because you will never regret it. And when we talk about things that the elderly people regret, they're always gonna say something like, oh, I regret not doing what I actually wanted to do. They regret not taking the actions which they wanted, and they regret doing what everyone else did. They regret not being special. They regret not being exceptional. They regret taking the path that they thought society wanted them to take, or their parents wanted them to take, but not actually doing what they themselves wanted to do. That was the biggest regret that most of these elderly people had, is that they didn't do what they actually wanted to do deep down. And they did what their parents thought they should do, or what society said that they should do. And that's the number one regret. And everyone who tried to do what they actually wanted to do never regretted it, no matter if they succeeded or failed. And that's a big lesson to learn, is that you will never regret trying to live your dream life. You will never regret going for that risky thing. You will never regret trying to be different and exceptional and being yourself. You will never regret that. And it's such a freeing thing, because it gives you the courage that, hey, in the future I won't care. And so even if right now it feels scary to jump, it feels scary to go for it, that's exactly what you should do. And this has given me, in a sense, a mental model or a mindset that I always use when I have a hard decision. And I always think to myself, when I have any kind of hard decision in life, is what would the 80-year-old me regret? Because whether I work on a video or I go to a party, that's a choice. And next week I might regret not going to the party because everyone else is talking about it. But when I'm 80 years old, I might regret not making the video or scripting the video or planning the video or whatever I was supposed to do, because back then the party was meaningless. I've even forgotten about that the party even existed. But I will look back on a video and be proud that I made it, that I actually created something and did something with my time, something productive. And so always think to yourself, what would the 80-year-old self regret? Next week you might regret the party, but 10 years from now even, you won't remember the party, but you will remember the work that you put into your business, or into your YouTube channel, or into your studies, because those are things that will affect you in 10 years, and you will see the results. You will get the reward for the work that you put in back then. So always think to yourself, what would the 80-year-old self want? And what would they regret? because they will never regret the brave thing, and they will never regret trying something new, and they will never regret taking a bit of risk, as long as it's calculated, of course, and they will never regret doing exceptional things. But they will regret doing what everyone else did and doing what society wants you to do, even if you hate it yourself. That will be your biggest regret. So don't let it be your biggest regret. And go talk to elderly people. They'll love it. You'll love it because you learn a lot. And so go do it, and never let your 80-year-old self regret the decisions that you made in your life. And as always, stay disciplined, chase your dreams, and have a fantastic day.